Hey, all right, we're reporting. We're not streaming, but we are recording.
Yeah, that's fine, but most of it's under 60. So.
Oh, yeah, let me say something before we start.
It will, okay.
Yeah.
Can I say it now?
Yes, please. Everyone's ready.
Before we begin, the board would like to acknowledge that we've made every effort to provide a live stream of today's meeting. Unfortunately, due to technical difficulties beyond our control, the live stream is unavailable. The meeting is being recorded and the full video will be posted publicly on the board's official YouTube channel as soon as possible after adjournment. Anthony,
Good.
you're on.
Good morning, everyone. It is now 8:32. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Finance Committee for Friday, October 24th, 2025. All board members are present, or excuse me, committee members are present except for Jim Frizzell, who has
a doctor's appointment.
Yep, an excused absence. The minutes have been circulated. So if there are any comments or questions, or if there are not, no comments or questions, I would like for a motion to approve the minutes as distributed.
So moved.
Okay, all in favor? Yes, for a second. Thank you. I need a second. I'm sorry. Motion, got a second. All in favor? Yes, we're good. Our first order of business would be the finance report. Chris?
Okay, welcome everybody. This is the financial report for the month of September and year-to-date September as we're now entering the fourth quarter. As you can see, we're what was collected for the month of September, $3.8 million. So again, that's strong. We look to be at about 3.5 to meet our budget. So that's right in line with what our expectations are. Year-to-date, 29.9. So we're talking $30 million revenue through September. That's $2.5 million increase from prior year, and that's within our expectations of a rate increase. Miscellaneous revenues, $22,000, customer penalties and interest $314,000 as part of these collections, and we can become valuable to us, no question. Expenditures pretty much spot on from year to year. 3.4 million for the month. Year to date, 23.2 million. Year to date expenditures, that's 3.6 million higher than it was in prior year. Again, that 3.6 has kind of been consistent. It's leveled off a little bit. It's always been that increase the past couple of months. That's that hope that doesn't get any bigger. But again, we had a lot of expenditures that we've took care of in 2025 that were not taken care of in 24, 23, mainly vehicles and things of that. Made 1.5 million in vehicles and some other operational capex that we needed. So again, I would consider this a catch-up year, and that starts to even off over this over the fourth quarter and the first quarter of next year. Capital spend, our 8350 accounts, as Arif and I like to call them, $319,000. So that's not a huge spend, but there's a lot of activity, as you can see from the actual money coming in, whether it be, and that's mostly grants. So obviously you'd like to see that, one being the largest piece of that, the $1.5 million for the water comprehensive plan, 18903. That's a big project. We see a lot of activity in that. 18903, which Bill can talk about later. So that's a flurry of activity, and that's certainly like to see. Grants tend to be I think in the beginning stages, the financing starts to come in after that. Actual versus budget, we're pretty close, certainly revenue wise, from year to year, from month to month. Year to date revenues under budget, 1.4 million. There's some timing relations there, and expenditures for the period were over by about 771,000, and expenditures 5.4. Again, there's some timing. We were expecting, as we said in the actual results, the budgeted expense numbers are going to be higher in this year. Our revenue numbers are going to be higher, but our expenses are going to be too. But in relation, our margins, if there is such a thing, and not for profit, are strong. Our age receivables, 6.2 million. That's pretty large for us. We also remember that we also double up in September when we have our
Two buildings, yeah.
two buildings come in September. October was as our cutoff, which sets us up for the tax roll. So that's if you look at our aging, the majority of that 6 million, I think it's probably about 3 or 4 million is under 60 days. So we actually have been managing this pretty good. Arif and myself have been working on OGS. We've collected a lot of the older pieces. You can see that in the aging that we've been harassing them. They were a late payer, so they're high balance, but they're current. And that's we put a little more focus on making sure that our customers don't get beyond 60 days. And some of them just naturally do. Is just the way it is, kind of like us. That's just the way it is. Anything certainly 90 days and above, we put a focus on. That's not acceptable, and we've been working on that. Interest paid to date, $1 million. That's our line of credit, along with our bond debt. Again, that's just interest, not principal. That's within our expectations. That line of credit debt, that's on just a little over $2 million line that we transferred from Bank of America. So that's something we're looking to take care of, hopefully in the near future, and pay off hopefully in 2026 at some point. So, Karen, the next space is just the actual financials of that piece that we just spoke about. I don't think any need to reiterate that again. You can see the numbers here. Again, it's 3.8 and compared to 3.4 of monthly collections. Anything in that 3.5 range we're working for, particularly as we get towards the end of the year, our money starts to get front loaded, given there's no activity in October, given that cutoff date. So, again, the expenses they're high, but again, we have much higher revenue, so it's comparable. In our debt service, fairly low for this month in 2025 in comparison. Things drop off our amortization schedule. There's a lot of timing related to our amortization. That's just for the month, and then for the year, again, overall, again, this is just the interest piece, 2.4 million compared to 2.8. That's comparable, and we're going to see that increase as time goes by when we get out of using just the grants, which we've been using for a large part of this year. That we start actually using some of the financing that we've gotten that we were qualified for, and then when notes actually start to go to long-term. Notes do have interest on it, but it's sporadic. Certainly long-term or bonds where notes are paid twice per year. Interest is paid twice per year. Karen, next page. Just a breakdown of the revenue. Again, that's just month to month and budget to actual. This really just kind of spells out what I call our ancillary or our additional cash receipts, miscellaneous. And again, we're coming at $323,000 that we collect. That's a meaningful number. Year to date, related to all the things that we've talked about in the past, our rents, our fishing permits, and scrap, and things of that nature. And then we'll occasionally get another type of bonus or sharing agreement or something that may come in. This something we call an other refund, or even tax refunds, things of that nature. So we try to separate that to show what that is. Next page is our
other refunds, that's tax rebates and.
It's kind of a hodgepodge of money that we got. It's not related to operations. So if someone, I think there's a couple of joint venture type things we've gotten into where people have given us money back. Some of it's tax refunds, things of that nature. Anything that doesn't have really kind of apply to any one of those specific categories, we sort of dump in there and it kind of accumulates. But we can get you.
It's not long-term control plan municipality monies back, right?
No, yeah, we separate that. Yeah. That is kind of, and Bill can talk to that too. It's been a little bit of a, I don't want to call them a standoff, but we're actually kind of waiting on money to be received from them. And when we actually have money that's owed to Troy and some other municipalities, which we're holding off until they square with us. So there's been little activity, quite frankly, with the long-term control plan this year, but no, that's separated out from this. Is just sort of ancillary other one. Anyone you can think of that might pop into there?
No, it's just the other revenue that we receive, as Chris says. Yeah.
But we can get you a printout of that. It's a sizable number. And now that you got me thinking about it, I probably know exactly what's in there. But there's one big number. I think it was like 90,000 that really drove that. I think it was a partnership with somebody, right?
Right. There's like $100,000. The refund from it's like a refund from one of the construction You gave me the check. I forgot that.
Yeah, there's one big number. We'll take a look at it, but we'll take it. Whoever's going to send us money, we'll put it and we'll put it in the our other
That's his.
our other money. So next page, Karen, this again our overall breakout by by department. We got to know these really well this year when doing our our budget going through, but these are actual results and budget as well, and then compared to the actuals from 2024. We try and summarize that near the bottom. And again, we're $3.6 million above what we did in 2024. But it's again, this is a catch-up year. We spent a lot of money on things that needed to be spent, and the hope is we addressed a lot of those issues, and that won't continue to 26. Again, next page. This is our sort of our capital spend, that we showed on the top there. It goes back to 1995, about $200 million. So for September, again, the 319,000 on the kind of the top right corner there for September. That's our 8350 account. So that's what we physically have spent. As you can see, it's greatly offset by sort of the box right below it. For the total of that being for the year 9.5, but for the month of September 2.5, or sorry, 2.366. And as you saw on those earlier pages, mostly grants, things of that nature. But 2 million came in. We've only spent 319 of that for the month. So our cash balance is going to be a little artificially inflated when you see Kim Saber, showing it. We got grant money in there. We don't separate all that money. So we have this schedule helps us see what we kind of have in reserve to pay for projects, and we monitor it on our side, but on spreadsheets, but it's fungible and it's all on our accounts there. But the good news is we have that money and we're ready to go, and we can pay our vendors, and we're properly funded. So that's obviously good news.
No, on that point, back to the line of credit, are there reasons why we don't just put this 2 million of what's in our accounts onto that? Are there reasons?
Yeah, we can. It's a valid question. I've thought of doing it. It's a pretty good interest rate relatively. I'm never totally sure, from our cash balances, we have a lot of grant money in there. We need about 5 million or so to operate. We're at about that now. We always seem to kind of get back to that. So I need to really demonstrate a consistent cash increase from month to month for me to be very comfortable and just giving that 2 million to the line of credit.
So we did get force account reimbursements, 2 of them for the total about what, 3 million plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3.2.
So, and that's kind of like found money, so.
So
And I think
yeah.
one of the things that I would ask, and with normally this time of year is start looking at what are we looking at in your forecast anyway, right? You do forecast,
Yeah.
look aheads, so, we're looking, we got a margin, what, 5.5 million through September. We know we've got the sewer bill to pay for 3.6, something like that. So we still got a couple $1 million of surplus. Is that going to stay or is that going to go? That's what your forecast.
Yeah, and
if that helps answer.
we've run some scenarios like that. The plan is to have this paid off in 26, incorporated particularly in our rate talks and things of that nature to get rid of this. I agree with you. It's that interest we pay is something that we could be directly to our bottom line and help us. But the plan is to have that removed as quickly as possible.
Okay.
But it's a valid point. Why don't we just get rid of it now? But I'm conservative.
We also have a long-term control plan obligation.
Yeah, we have some liabilities on our balance sheet that if they start kind of really pressing, that we'd have to pay.
So we
So
have to pay it anyway, whether they press it or not. So it's a question of really that need to be built into your forecast.
Yeah.
When does that get paid?
the timing of it is there's a liability. So but I'm with you. It was 4 million. The first thing I did was paid off 2 million of that. But we got to knock this thing down, whether we could afford it or not. In reality, we probably couldn't have. But that's just we needed to get that at least in half, and we kind of worked our way back from it. But it's a priority, and it's a valid thing. We're going to work on that.
But we can feasibly pay any of our
We can put it on
expenses, but with that line of.
Sure. Yeah, that's why it was imperative to switch it to M&T, because we did make a small attempt to make a draw on it, and you had to fill out a form, and had to get approved, and it took 2 or 3 weeks to process this thing, which you need the money. If you're dipping into your line of credit, you need it immediately. So that was another reason why we went to M&T. It's almost just like a line on your normal bank. It's attached to your bank account. If you withdraw, it goes right into it, and you don't have this administrative delay and fees. On top of that, that Bank of America had snuck into this, so there was a million reasons to go to M&T, and that was a big win for us that we got it. Yeah, so this page is just a breakdown of the overtime, pretty consistent. A lot of that, we're coming into I think as Joe likes to call it the silly season.
Silly season.
But this does reflect some overtime work earlier in the year. It's relatively consistent, and it's something that our operation guys track pretty extensively. Our due from box there at 1.8 million. So we've been focusing on this. This is again, this is what is technically owed from the city to us as a result of our office payments activity. So this is what we want to see. We're coming into through September. We're still almost $2 million positive. We've actually made it. We have to fund every capital account that every project that we do through City Hall. We think this number is going to increase. Certainly in October, we spent a decent amount of money. In November, so the hope is that by the end of the year, this is a sizable receivable for us. And finance people say that's bad. You're giving someone an interest-free loan for an entire year. Okay, that is bad. But at the end, it's better. When I first joined, that was going the other way for reasons unknown. It was 23 was $3 million the other way, which no one we could really figure out. But we've got this down with what I would call a bit of a science. We know what we're being charged. Some of it we need to audit a bit, but at least we know what the numbers are, and we're tracking, and they're going in the right direction into our expectations. So my view is at the end of the year, this could be some liquidity for us. If there's a $3-4 million receivable, there's nothing that says that we shouldn't get a credit or paid on that. That's a piece of it. And that's something that we're working towards. Unless something crazy happens, but we should be there. So that's that piece of good news, and helps us obviously with we'll pay the line of credit. If there's $2 million left, I will pay that line of credit. That'll go right towards it and get rid of it. But we're fingers crossed on that one. And Arif and I are watching that pretty closely. So that's good news. And then
what's the city's financial situation? Is that something that they would hold on to?
They would it would be I don't know quite frankly, I don't know the history of settlements. I believe they were done in the past. Dufresne, I don't know what the prior CFO did. I had heard they occasionally did square with each other going back 5 or 6, but certainly not since I've been here. I don't think in the past, maybe 3 or 4 years before that, there was any selling. But no, in my experience, they just want to keep this kind of continual due from. The next thing you know, we'll get an overhead bill on something that eats it anyway.
Your question, I think it had been pretty solid.
Yep.
For a variety of reasons, but this year I think there's been, it's time out a little bit on their end because of Doge.
Yeah.
Some of the uncertainty of flow down reimbursements from the feds, which support some of the city programs directly. So I know they've kind of stopped it. Don't hire anything, don't do this, don't do that, until that gets clarified.
Well, I was listening to the news, and Kathy, she said that she'll go out with a balanced budget.
Yeah, they certainly have built the reserve back
Yeah.
up,
Yeah, but I can tell you fiscally, certainly every expense they have to get approved. Yeah,
Right.
and that's pretty early in the year to do to do that. That's something to do kind of more towards their cutoff.
Right.
So there are being fiscally
But I
restrained
think,
there.
again, the reason
Yeah.
for that was Doge
Yeah.
and the flow down.
Yeah.
So anyways, so next that's just the aging. So you can see that if you go sort of towards the bottom again, that was $6 million, but the majority of that's current. We consider everything within 60 days pretty current there. So you get about 4 million, close to 5 million of that is current, and the rest of this, we kind of chase. Even the later ones, they pay. Yeah, they're sort of like us in a way. They pay. They might be late. We don't really have any people that technically default on this aging, and so that's good news in that respect. But again,
Maybe
we're
the
getting
thing to
better.
do for the next board meeting is have a little bit of an explanation, like on Albany Med, or Bethlehem, what the status of those our, what the probability of collection is by year end. So
Yep.
if maybe just dive into the over nineties, 120s.
Next page, again, this is just, oh, sorry, I skipped that. This is our Route sevens, our large users. Again, this is strong, definitely strong 15 million, when compared to the prior period of last year's sales, not collected sales here. So, that's up strong. That's even separated from Bethlehem. We have 1.6 million. To me, that was not budgeted. And that's a strong, that's coming. They would normally ran at about 2 million and prior to that. So we're coming up um, on that number, which has been huge for our bottom line. Our normal players are very strong, SUNY and OGS. Again, we've been collecting that money better. And again, we have work to do on our billing system, refining it, and making sure we're capturing all of our meters timely and accurately. But the overall numbers there are strong and have been strong all year, very consistent. There's not anything that's really surprising, but it's strong and strong in the right way there again with Bethlehem as well. And I think Bill can speak later, I think, to the negotiations that we're doing for their contract for next year. The next piece, this is this, I call this the reschedule. This is our due from, again, that far right corner. That's that 1.8 million that I just talked about. That's owed to us. So if you have some time to kill and you want to digest some numbers and kind of get in and out of this, the amount of the volume of activity goes to make this schedule up, please do. But this is what we're using to monitor, and these expenditures here right in the middle, we really have to get an audit on those. We have them, we know what they are, we've met with them, we have asked for backup, we'll get an Excel spreadsheet, what's done, and we're not accusing anybody, we're sure everything's fine, but we just need to make sure we understand what we're being billed, and we're not 100% there yet. We're probably like 20% there. But this was the start of it, and we're trying to get with these guys who've been very busy in their own right, budget, things of that nature, their financials. But work to do there. But again, 1.8, very solid. Let's
I
keep
think that
going.
transparency benefits both the city and.
Agreed.
No.
Yeah, they're not trying to.
No,
They're
but
just.
you could just-
I think by accident we may have lost.
Yeah,
some
yeah,
things over
just
the years.
after all the work you did, I think it finally brings to light,
Yeah.
kind
No,
of
they use that schedule now.
leads of
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
yeah.
So
So
we're on the same page with them,
Yeah.
and that's the goodest thing that we've done and here,
Good
frankly.
tool.
So next page. This is our routes again. A good story, but Bill Kahn loves this. 13.9% on Route 1. So hey, that's a reflection not only of our rate increase, but certainly some efficiencies that we've gained, and it's been consistent after some little bit of inconsistency earlier in the year. We've been around this range, this 11, 12, and that's comforting that we're doing what we think we're doing, and even a little more. So that's going strong, and we got to keep that up as we go into the fourth quarter of 2025. So that's the overall financial package, month of September, year to date.
Good job, Chris.
So, any questions?
Any questions?
Great.
Okay.
Thank
Next
you.
order of business, budget.
Me again. Budget. So the Joe Coffee Show was on September 30th. Sorry, October 30th. That coming up. So I'll sit next to Joe, and he'll go through and for a half hour and tell the city all the stuff that we're doing for the budget. But again, I've mentioned it before. Reef and I and Joe, we really scrub this thing. So when it comes to our rate discussion, we know what our expenses are. We think we're pretty good. We're not always 100% perfect, but we've looked at everything, worked with the department heads like Joe D here and some other guys to make sure that we have a budget that's realistic. It's not something that we're just kind of throwing out there and transferring money all over the place in 26. But with that said, it makes it lean. We have to adhere to it. If there are bigger purchases, we need to know about it. So we're going to reinstate some things that I think worked in the past with some regular purchase / budget meetings, at least on a monthly basis, to say get ahead of certain maybe major expenditures, or just make sure people are in line with this budget, which we put a lot of work into. And then Joe we'll present shortly. So that's coming up for budget. And I think that's
Review and approve.
you should, we can send you a copy. We sent it to Bill. We haven't, to like Bill Kahn, and our guys to, and Chuck saw it. We've made some assumptions in it. Yeah, certainly, we haven't, we're still, working on rates, things of that nature, but we can send you where we've got to. Yeah. We'll send you, we can send you what we sent to City Hall. I'll put it that, and then that'll be finalized when Joe is done with it, on the 30th.
When Bill Con, when you're.
Well, we're done with it.
Yeah, we're done. It just needs to get stamped.
In my view, we're done,
Yeah.
and I think the city signed off on what we're doing, because frankly, that's what they submitted to the common council.
Yeah.
Which is what Chris and I are gonna they'll have a PowerPoint up there. And, even though they don't have any really say in our budget, the operating budget, we go through this presentation, so we'll share the PowerPoint with you. But frankly, there's not a lot of budget stuff in that. It's just head count, and it's just a high level numbers. that they put
We
in
can
for
send
revenue
you
expense.
the actual budget. That's
Yeah,
fine. That's no problem. We'll send you both.
Yeah.
Was it supposed to be approved by the next meeting or?
It's usually by the year, and I'm trying to remember.
Well, usually the budget is just a budget and transfer document that the board.
That's what the Bill Kahn document.
We
Yeah.
have historically shared the operating budget with the board early, but.
We should, I'll send that out. But yeah, but the overall transfer schedule, that Bill Kahn helps us with that, figuring out what we transfer the city every month based on that budget. They basically divide that by 12, and that's a monthly, there's some timing for different payments, but that's the base document for that transfer.
So we can frankly spend a little more time going through some of the issues with that. Let's give the for the budget. We didn't do that here as we've done in the past. We can certainly do that either at a finance. We can take some of the agenda for November and just talk a little bit more about the weeds of the budget. What are some of the assumptions that went in? We did some personnel issues. There was not a lot of, there's probably a net 4 ads. I think in some cases, we probably baked whatever the city suggested as a merit or cost of living increase. We made several other salary adjustments based on performance evaluations and organizational changes that we think we're planning to have next year for obvious reasons, which we can talk about a little bit as well. We'll probably, one thing we'll probably want to show is an org chart in November.
Are there any more questions?
Checking everything.
So,
Oh, it's for he's in for the regular.
Okay, if there are no more questions in regards to the 2026 budget, we'll move on. Is there any new business that needs to be brought before this committee? Okay, is there any reason to enter into executive session? Okay, there being none. The next meeting is to be determined. And are there any more questions or comments for the committee?
Good.
Okay, there being none, I would ask for the committee to adjourn at 9 o'clock. Second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Hey, just need to wrap you up.
Yeah, we can take a couple minute break.
I watched Mike.
Go ahead.
That looks good. Oh, all right.
We'll add that
Oh,
on
that's
the
cool.
agenda for November.